Welcome to Little Starlight Podcast, everyone. Your hosts today are Andrea Jaeger, that's me, and Karen Vazquez. A popular, there's Karen. I hope people get to view these because it's so fun, like viewing. Yes,
I
and
know, right?
Karen was just waving, so I want to make sure because people listening, they might have felt the vibration, that hug or love over to them. All right, all right. Okay, a popular sentiment I have heard is you meet three kinds of people in your life: people who come in for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Karen and I met when she was a little girl with cancer in my children's cancer programs. Karen had a 2% chance of survival from her cancer. I founded and run Little Star Foundation, helping children with cancer. This is our 39th year, so the reason Karen and I met seems obvious. However, the reason I feel goes far deeper than that. I believe one of the reasons we also met is to share laughter together. Every time we talk or get together, even when times are tough, we seem to enjoy laughter together. Adriana, who often hosts Little Starlight podcasts with us, when we three are on a podcast or program together, oh my, adventures and laughter, those ring in. The lifetime part for sure, we have lifetime love and enjoyment too. Before I ask Karen to share on the subject, I wanted to ask you listening or watching, if you're struggling with why someone didn't stay a season or your entire lifetime, have you ever considered the person came in only for a specific reason, like a lesson to teach, show, or be something in your life you never realized was important? I've had lots of those. Those are like learning experiences that you're trying to put a positive twist to, right? Okay. So, Karen, what examples do you have when someone outside your family you thought only came in for just one reason and it became a blessed season or so far a lifetime together? Do you have any of those?
Oh yeah. Well, as you know, growing up in a hospital when you're little, you meet a lot of people, especially kids. And there was one kid who I grew attached to, and unfortunately, he passed away. But
Oh,
while I was in the hospital with him, we would during Halloween we would dress up together. It was like so much fun.
oh,
So he definitely made going through cancer fun. So to him, who is in heaven probably, I
yeah.
miss you so much, but
Oh,
thank you because you made cancer fun, even though it
that,
wasn't. Sorry, I
ah,
get emotional.
no, that's okay. That's so special.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a little angel that was there helping you,
Yes,
you
yeah, we
know?
were, maybe 2 years, apart. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was a little older than him, but
How
he
old are
was so
at what
much
age?
fun.
What age? What
He
age were
uh,
you
he
then?
was I was 11 and he was 9. So, yeah, his name was Jorge.
I was
It
gonna
was
ask you if you
Jorge.
remember his name.
Yeah,
Oh,
and we
okay.
would call him Jorgito. So,
Jorgito.
yeah, oh, he was so much fun. He was just a goofball, but yeah, he made cancer fun. So, yeah, so to
Oh,
Jorgito, who's in heaven, I miss you. I still think about him from time to time. So, yeah.
oh, so Jorgito, we love you too, even though we don't know you. So that's what
Yeah.
a what a special story. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of from the place, and everyone can have their own way of envisioning this. But I believe everyone who passes hears us and sees us. And, maybe they're busy doing other things, but when their name comes up or love is sent to them, I just believe
Yes.
they glow. They're probably bright,
Mhm.
like bright light anyway. But I'm sure he's just going, that's so cool. She remembers me,
Of course.
And
Yeah.
that's, oh my gosh, what this is so special. Like if we just stop this podcast right at this moment, I feel like
Yeah.
it's just
No, yeah.
like it was meant to be like that important thing. That's cool. Okay. So what about oh, so that's an example of someone you wanted to stay longer
Of
and
course.
and
Yeah.
put in, and it was just for a reason or a season.
Unfortunately, when he was passing away, I was also there through his passing. So yeah, I felt like he had so much potential, but unfortunately, he had a he had to pass away. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you every Halloween, because we were together October-ish, because we ran that program in San Diego. So it was right before
Oh yeah.
Halloween. And then we did the podcast where I was like all dressed
Hmm.
up.
Yeah, no, I
And,
remember Halloween because he dressed up as Batman and he had, those little
oh
Batman
yeah.
cushiony, with the
Yeah.
muscles. It
And
was so funny. That's how I met him. That's how I met him, actually. I
so
would just
that
be
so
making fun of him.
that's so cute.
Yeah.
So how about so on Halloween, every Halloween do you think of him like that?
Well, it's not as often, but yes,
Yeah.
that's how I met him. That's I think of him in his Batman suit. Yeah.
Oh, that's so I'm gonna think, oh, I have a Batman dish, like a plate. Like, go figure. Who has a
Yeah.
Batman plate?
And
And
I'm a
they're like,
big Batman fan, so yeah.
okay, all right. Well, he's feeling the love. Definitely feeling the love. That's
Yeah.
so cute. And
Yeah.
then and it's fun, like when he dressed up and he was all because sometimes when you're a goofball and you that's the side you feel comfortable with, and it's to help others
Mhm.
feel comfortable. And so that's kind of how your connection is.
Yeah.
And all right, cool. All right, this is off to an awesome start. I love this. Okay, so now we're on to the Summer Olympics, which is what? It's happening Friday. Okay. So Friday on July 26, 2024 is the Summer Olympics. And
Mhm.
there's a new NBC coverage team. First time ever. Kelly Clarkson is coming on board and Peyton Manning. So it's very super exciting. I'm really excited about it. So what are your favorite sports? Do you watch Summer Olympics?
Uh, some of it, not everything. I usually am a fan of gymnastics and ice skating. I like those
Oh,
too.
those are so tough to watch. I love them, but it's like, I don't know how parents watch their kids doing that, because those are the two sports that if you fall, that's tough. Like you have to have,
Yes.
I mean, they have some of the hardest training, and I don't
Mhm.
know all the other sports. So every sport is a hard training one when you're an Olympian or any sport. But when you fall in those sports, that's painful. It's not just
Yeah.
your score. It's just
You can
like
see the frustration in their faces and it's not very pleasant.
no, no. Do you remember one year at the Olympics, gymnastics, they actually put that pommel horse thing? It's a thing you like run really super, super fast. You put your hands on and then jump over.
And
They
then the
put it to,
flips.
yeah, you do flips and all that. They put it too high. And this was a long, long time ago because I'm like a mega Olympics fan. So this is like going way back because I remember the restaurant I was in. Um, and I remember watching it on their TV, and they put the horse too high, and I kept watching, and the girl who was so great was supposed to win, she went flying and fell, and they figured out later that they didn't put the height right. And so what happened was they redid it, but she was so traumatized from falling because they're sprinting, jumping in the air, twirling in the air.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so that was one of those things. But anyway,
Oh
for me,
my. Did she get injured pretty badly
she
or?
didn't get injured, but she was traumatized because she was set to win the gold.
Oh. Oh
And
no,
then
no, no.
she fell. It was Woody Creek Tavern. I was at the Woody Creek Tavern watching and flew to the TV. And I go, that's so unusual. She never falls on that. That's like her best. And then later they revealed that the horse and other gymnasts kept falling. And so something's wrong here. And they figured out that the horse, just like inches or millimeter, whatever it was, they didn't position it correctly. So they let
Oh
everyone
wow.
go again, but it got in her head. Sports
Well,
is a lot,
yeah.
mental stuff too. And so I felt for her. I actually was thinking, I gotta find that person. I feel so much for her because she was supposed to win gold and she didn't. And she was from a foreign country. And I did. I subliminally sent out like hugs and prayers to her for like years, like decades. Because I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that had to hurt.
I
Uh,
mean, I sometimes see athletes getting traumatized from injuries. Now imagine from something like that. I mean, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
So we got to cheer them on. It
Yes.
so in tennis, I mean, I love watching all the sports, but in tennis, a few of my favorites who you did meet, and I know this. So Rafa Nadal, is playing. You met Rafa, remember our
Yes,
program?
the
She was
the
so
Palm Spring one, right?
yes, yes, we're Palm
Yes.
Springs. So he's playing, and he's playing with Carlos Alcaraz from Spain. Carlos is incredible. He's so fun to watch. Something about he just has a joy. He has such a joy. So you check it out because you know Rafa, so you cheer for him. And but Carlos and him are playing doubles together for Spain. They're playing singles too. And then Yannick Sinner from Italy. He skis as great as he plays tennis, but he's
Oh,
playing in
wow.
Olympics in tennis, and he's also going to be playing the doubles. And they're really they're great ambassadors of life, not just sports. So for them at the Olympics, it'll be fun looking for them at the opening ceremonies. And then the US team, every sport they have great representation. And in tennis, their fantastic team includes Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula. They'll be playing doubles together. Danielle Collins, who's retiring. So I'm educating you on all these great tennis players. Emma Navarro, she's had a fantastic summer. Tommy Paul, Taylor Fritz, and Chris Eubanks. And then there's a couple newcomers that are on it as well. And so when I was an Olympian, it was like now being an Olympian, watching the opening ceremonies is so fun. Like the audience has the ability to sit at home. You can pause the TV, you can get drinks, you can go to the bathroom, you can do whatever. The Olympians have to wait the whole time, like in line. That's the hardest part. And I think that is something I hope they change that because some of the athletes, if you're playing, like I know tennis starts really early in the schedule. If you're playing right after, you don't want to be up late at night. Although it's in Paris, France, the Summer Olympics, and
Oh, wow.
it's scheduled um, for us. They have two showings. It's going to be at 1:30 and then an evening presentation because of the time change.
Mhm.
But that's the only thing. Like summer, it's great watching closing ceremonies because the athletes who are there, they're so excited. But a lot of athletes have left at that point too. So, okay, so back. But anyway, audience members, remember, tune in. It's coming up. It's on Friday. So, and if you watch this later on or listen to this later on, there's probably still ways you can watch the Olympics anyway. All right. Now, if you found this Little Star Life podcast announcement in your email box or on our littlestar.org website, you will have been introduced to Chris, who feels on the inside like an Olympics champion. Chris's bright smile and courageous heart will bring you to your feet to cheer her on. She's from the Midwest, is 11 years old, adorable, and was diagnosed with high risk B cell ALL cancer a week before her 10th birthday last year. So for me, all children with cancer and their families and their caregivers included are Olympians in my eyes. And this podcast is there's going to be a lot of laughter and interesting and fun and cool things later. I just want to give a little bit about her story because it's pretty cool. And certainly children striving to achieve their personal best, whether it's in sports, school, whatever they're looking to achieve in their life, fun in daily life is very different than what a child with cancer lives day by day by. I mean, you know that personally, Karen. And for a moment, I want the audience to think about the lives of anyone they know that might be struggling or suffering. And because often we get busy in our day and just getting through the day sometimes is hard for people. And so, and there's a lot of stimulation. Social media is, and we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up, but it's great because you can connect and engage. But a lot of times, I know I grew up with a lot more silence. I grew up with a lot more just nature quiet and now it's like there's buzzing all the time and things. So this is just we're going to do 8 seconds of just a little bit of silence to think about somebody dear. They could be alive, they can be past, they can whoever who needs a hug. It can be, your dog, anybody that could use your healing energy. So we're going to just do 8 seconds and I'll count it. And that's what the silence is. And it's also to remember too. So here it goes. I count fast, so that was 8.
For like a second, but yes.
I know you were like in this deep meditation. I opened my eyes and you're just like,
Wait, what? Already?
getting in the mode. Okay, I hope everyone's still tuning in. They might be like, "What is going on with this episode? Where's the guest?" No, we are the guest because this is this was important. I felt like this needed to come in because oftentimes, and guests are awesome and we love them, but sometimes things are important to reflect upon. And what the story you shared already, your friend, he was like, he's the guest, and that few seconds we had remembering someone, they're the guest. And so that's important. And Karen, I know you have an upcoming surgery, so we're certainly I'll do more than the 8 seconds for you.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Um, now, if you had, like, when something's important to you, because you've been through a lot of trauma, medical, heartache, loss, a lot of different things. What is a good thing for somebody who hasn't been through the things that they've been through? What is a good thing for someone who cares about you to say when they want to ask you, how are you doing? Are you okay? Like you and I have already talked about with your surgery, because we laugh a lot. And so you have stitches. So I have to make sure to be like mellow, Andrea, and not the other side of me. So what is something that if a person, like, just say heartache, or like like if someone's going through depression, would you share something that you feel is appropriate that somebody can say, how are you doing? Or should they just let you be?
Let the waterworks begin.
Oh, that's so
No, I'm just kidding.
cute. No,
So
that's a wonderful thing.
I'm gonna share something real personal.
Okay.
So as you know, I went to Chicago for my birthday, thanks to
Mhm.
Andrea. So I came back and I went with my friends, two of my best friends. And so I was having so much fun in Chicago. So I came back, and as you know, I recently lost my brother. So I came back and my home was back to an empty house, no brother. So I was going through a lot. And so I felt it hit me. He's not here. So I still go through those waves. So I went into a little depression, and I kind of stopped texting my friends. They were not hearing back from me, and they got worried. And it's not that I didn't want to reply. I just, there's part of you that's just like doesn't let you reply back. It's just like the energy is not there to reply back. It's just like something's holding you back and you don't even know what. There's just something that's just like I don't feel like it. Like 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 it's like your soul gets sucked out of you. Like I don't know. It's just really hard to describe like what you're feeling. And I was really going through a hard time. But I couldn't even share that with them because sometimes even describing the pain of not having that person, it's really hard. Like they're not gonna understand me, they're not gonna they don't know what I'm going through. So I kind of like shut down and I was not replying back, and they were like, Karen, what's going on? Well, one of my friends came and just stopped by because I was able to reply, and she was like, "Oh no." She came and she sat in the living room with me, and just we stood just quiet. And to me, that was the whole world. To me, that was just like, oh wow, she cares about me, and it just I don't know, it meant a lot to me. So
That's so
that's to
special.
me, yeah, that's my love language, like they say.
That's okay. So what's her name? Can you say her first name?
Angie, Angie,
Angie. Okay, yes, I'd
Angie.
love to. Angie, that's, I'm so glad you shared that, because sometimes people don't know what to do.
Mhm,
And so they don't want to offend, they don't want to, step in. And it's like, this is unusual for Karen. I need to be there for her. I'm
mhm,
gonna go to her house, and we don't have to do anything. We don't have to do a trip or anything. We're just gonna be, and
mhm.
and and I'm here.
Yeah,
And I'm so glad you shared that story, because for someone else, they might be thinking, wow, I got to show up. I got it. I maybe need to do the extra step. And then for the other person on the other side is, oh, maybe no one's showing up because they don't know to show up
Yeah,
because
some
it's,
people think I need to give her her space, but she's
yeah.
like, I gave you your space when you lost your brother, but I'm not gonna do that anymore. If you're not replying, I'm gonna be there, even just sitting next to you. It doesn't matter. We just watch TikTok videos and that's it.
Oh, we love Angie. We love Angie.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not gonna leave you anymore. She's like, I'm gonna be there. And that's to me, that was, quality time is one of my love languages. So yes.
Oh my gosh, I gotta write that down. Love, quality time,
Quality time is one of my love languages. So yes, and
okay.
that to me meant the world and it gave me a little bit of hope and it made me feel good and
Mhm.
that was
It gives it gives you
it.
that spark and that,
Yes.
you have
Yes.
the
It made me feel
energy
special.
to change your clothes or brush your teeth or
Yeah.
or switch the channel or something.
Yes, it made me get out of my bed and walk down the stairs and yeah, so it made me feel good. But that's me. You don't really words sometimes don't really do it for me.
Mhm.
So just
I'm
her
kind of
having
like
spent
that.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, well, it's interesting that you said that because I wanted to bring up what this little girl that I mentioned, her mom shared as words of wisdom, because we always ask families that we're helping, we share how many decades we've been around, and the people who are sometimes are the best to help others, like we help what we can with financial assistance and programs and really cool experiences and friendships and things like that. But I didn't go through childhood cancer. I'm not a mom. And so, technically it's like, okay, what is she doing here? It's like it's a whole different experience level. And yet, like, and she's having fun with us. Like, what's wrong with her? Doesn't she have any friends? Like, doesn't she have anything else to do? I agree. I used to be like that. Like, why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. Like, why are you hanging out with kids? We barf, and we have chemo and we throw up. We were at a restaurant, several of the restaurants that we were at having dinner that she eventually was helping on, and some of the brain tumor kids, it's harder for them with medicine, and so
Mhm.
it's normal to sit at the table. I remember telling my mom once when she wanted to come visit, I said, well, the two things are, you can't cry in front of the kids unless it's award ceremony night. Like, they get enough of that, stay in your room, seriously. And I'm serious, mom, do not. And she like looked at me, and it was the first time I was ever really serious with her, like, hey, and so I'm like, my program, this is the rule for you.
Mm.
And so I said, closing ceremony, like award ceremonies, you can, because everyone's like waterworks there. And so I said, except for me, because I'm the MC, so I have to like see clearly and everything. And I said, and the other thing is, just be aware that things are different than with normal
Mhm.
kids. We could be sitting at dinner and one will throw up, and that's totally normal. It's not because they didn't like the food, it's just because it's normal. So we
Mhm.
carry bags with us and we're quick on our feet to move, and she just like looked at me. I go, they might take their leg off, their artificial leg, they might take their wig off, and that's normal. And if you look at them like, oh my God, what's going on? It's not going to make them feel comfortable. It's okay
True.
to ask them questions. These
Yes.
kids are very cool. They prefer questions than looking at them like there's a problem. And I said, if you can't handle that, because she what happened was, she kept my parents kept complaining why they weren't getting Christmas presents or birthday presents anymore. Not mean, but like, I'm like, Mom, I don't have any money. Gave it all to help these kids. Like, I would send them this really pretty card and stuff. And so they were like, what's wrong? And I go, if you want to come, I'll let you come, but here's the rules. So she stayed in her room for like the first 3 days. She'd come out, look at one child, start crying. I go, back in your room. And this is when we were at a
Aw.
hotel. She would back. So she didn't get out for like 4 days. 4 days. It was like award ceremony day. And then she just started bawling and it was fine because it was award ceremony day. But so it's interesting how everybody, so we asked the families to help other families. So when I asked this, this is a recent, just very recent family, because like there's always a day that's recent. But when I asked her what she would give a parent, like words of wisdom, she said, um, take things one day at a time and sometimes 1 hour at a time. Take breaks
Mhm.
as you're able, even if it's just a walk down the hospital hall, and keep saying yes to friends and family when they offer help. And I thought about that and I was like, you know what? This doesn't have to be just for a child with cancer and their family. This can be for anyone. And it's like what you
Mhm.
were just talking about is, you know what? Sometimes getting through a minute or an hour is important. And so take the help. Like when your friend came, you opened the door, you let her come in,
Yes. Yes.
and it's
I was
like,
just like, "What?"
you're what? Okay.
What?
See, it would be me playing TikTok with you because I don't even know how to play TikTok. I know people know how to play. We're gonna get to social media very quickly, and this is gonna be like so full of laughter. Like people aren't even be they're gonna be just like, oh my. Um, so then the other question I asked this family is if they did receive financial assistance, what would they use it for from Little Star Foundation? And she said that they'd use it towards medical bills and gas and to and from appointments at the hospital and home modifications, given their daughter was using a wheelchair and crutches due to treatment related hip fracture in the AVN. And so, when you think about some days that are tough, I think about for me, when things are tough, I think about these families because some of them I just talked to a family and they asked if we could help and they had an eviction. They just got an eviction notice for rent and they couldn't even pay their rent because
Wow.
they were going back and forth to the hospital. And it's amazing. And I never want someone to think that what they're going through, because what someone is going through is so personal and so real and so raw that that's theirs to experience. And you have to experience that. But then also to know that there's others that are there to pick you up too. Like they might have just as much going on, if not more, but they want to be there for you. Like Angie wants to be there for you.
Mhm.
And playing in the hospital, I mean, neither of you kids knew what was going to happen. And you found a commonality, you found a love, like the same thing you talk about, that language of love that you have is the interaction and the relationships are so important. And so that's cool. And so here's something I thought when I heard this, I wanted to include this because I know Dallas Jenkins would love this. He was on our podcast and others will love this too. So the night that this little girl was diagnosed, okay, she's 10 years old. Okay, it's just been diagnosed with cancer. She said to her family, in school, we say Romans 8:28 every morning, which is, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. I love God, so I know he will work this for my good. And if that is true at school, it has to be true now. It has to apply to
Mm.
this too. This is 11-year-old, now she's 11-year-old girl. Okay, so at 10, she was saying that. And
My.
it's like the the words and the just the message in that is quite profound. I mean, those are special words of wisdom, and we all have that. And my thing is share it because someone will want it, someone will love it, and even
Mhm.
if you're by yourself, remember it because that can make that difference. Um, so yes, at Little Star Foundation, we obviously work every day to help in terms of bringing financial assistance and then
Mhm.
long term care and the fun and the laughter, which is super essential too, and a better quality of life to these children with cancer and their families. And so when I do say, hey, if you want to help, help. If you want to just listen, listen. If you want to be there, it's sincere because every anyone that helps, it's important and needed and goes to great use. But we're on this podcast because we want others to feel light and feel good
Yes.
and learn something and maybe
Mhm.
contribute to something, um, emotionally, physically, however, well, to the world to be a little bit of a brighter and better place. So I think this is really cool. So okay, now we're on Instagram time. You're gonna laugh at this because I know you don't know this about me. Okay, so we're gonna share new things about Instagram that, well, it may be new to people, and other things might just be, yeah, me too. I totally agree with that. So I'm going to ask you this, Karen. How long have you been on Instagram? Like following people and posting, like, consistent?
Oh, I think since I think 2014 or
Oh,
20
wow. That's
2014.
that's good. Because Instagram started in 2010.
Oh, wow.
It
Mm,
started in 2010. So
yeah,
you got on
I
the
think that was
bandwagon pretty quick.
24,
Yeah, that's so you came in at like 2014 or something.
2014. I think, yeah, 2014. I think that
Okay,
was
so
my first post.
that's so cute. Okay, so I joined very, very late. Okay, I was very, very late into this. I was playing in the Wimbledon Legends, and Adriana was there helping. We were running kids' cancer programs and a lot of other kids' programs too for blind and wheelchair bound children. And I was trying to figure out this thing, Instagram, and she's like, okay, do you want me to teach you? And I'm like, yes, please. So it took like the whole 2 weeks of Wimbledon for her to teach me this. She was so patient. And I was like, because I'm just not, I used to design computer programs for Time Incorporated when I was doing foundation work. And so I can learn things very quickly. But to me, the logic part was hard. The logic of who has the time to do this? Okay. Who who has the time to follow? Who has the time to post? And who wants other people in their life, like strangers in their life, in such a personal capacity? It's like
You're funny.
it's like so I'm like I don't even so this was and Adriana came in about 8 years ago, so it was within 8 years, so it wasn't that long. So virtually it took me till this year to start doing it consistently. So, and I just discovered what scrolling was because scrolling takes more time. Okay. It takes way more time. I never really followed people. Like it was like 4 years later. And Adriana goes, you do have to follow people, like for people to see your stuff. I go, oh, okay. She goes, so so the same thing happened. It's like, okay, where do people find the time to do all this? And I know in this age of social media, businesses are digital. It's important
True.
in a lot of things. But
It
to me,
is.
it was more about because you see at Little Star, we're relationship people. It's like
Yeah.
so to come in digitally, it was like, well, we're taking time to be in the relationship part. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little tough, but I love
It
the
is.
animals and the puppies. Like I could sit there and watch those. But
No, yes.
so here's an interesting stat on Instagram. Instagram has 1.47 billion monthly active users.
Oh, wow.
1.47 billion. So now I'm going to get active because it's like, okay, that's just smart to use Instagram, right? And people upload 95 million photos daily. 95 million
Daily?
photos daily.
Why?
There are 400 million stories posted each day. 400 million stories, okay? And then on
Wow.
average, people spend, and I think this is low. I think they did a very low number for 2024, but people spend, they said on average 29 minutes a day on on Instagram and an average 2 to 3 hours a day on social media. So that's like why I couldn't do it. I mean, there's just I get it for business and work. It can do better things for you. And I just haven't really gotten to that point yet of doing it that way. And maybe one day I'll learn it
Mm-hmm.
or it'll resonate and I'll flow better. But when you're in a max state as it is with doing as much as you can with, on the relationship more side to add 2 to 3 hours a day, it would have to be middle of the night. Like it would just have to be middle of the night.
True.
So that's a
I
lot.
wonder what's the most busiest during
Time.
for Instagram. Yeah.
They have certain times of stuff. They analyze all these things. Okay, so now hopefully people can relate to this because when I was scrolling, now I just recently learned scrolling. Okay, I just recently did scroll, and I'm like, wow, this is popping up, and this is popping up, and this is popping up. So these positive lesson posts pop up, like do these 5 things. They come in this like ooh, like voice with the print, and it says do these 5 things, and your life will be changed. Do these 2 things, and your life will be improved. And so they have a lot of that. So here's my what were they thinking on this? So there's this really heavy music and this bold print, and then these lessons, life lessons come in from Anthony Hopkins. Okay.
Oh.
And I will call him Sir Anthony Hopkins more for, not just because he's Hannibal Lecter, but okay. So I am thinking, are you kidding me? Like, this is a guy from a movie who ate people. Okay. I'm going to take a life lesson from a guy who like ate people. He messed with Jodie Foster's head in that movie so badly. At least she lived. Okay. The other people he ate, but it's like, no, I'm not going to take advice from Hannibal Lecter. I just want to learn. And he kept popping up. I was scrolling, and then there he was again. And I'm like hurrying and hurrying to get to the next. And I'm like, I'd rather learn something hard, like fall down and get back up, than learn it from him, just because I can't get the Silence of the Lambs view of Hannibal Lecter out of my head. It's like, if he tells me what to do, it could be a trap, right? I can't go there.
True.
So now there's a opposite spectrum, which, and I'm going to ask you if you ever thought on this, but the opposite spectrum where the person off screen matches the person on screen is Taylor Swift. So there should be kindergarten through senior center classes on Taylor Swift life lessons. She is full of wisdom, love, character, kindness, goodness, toughness, hard work, talent, getting up after being knocked down, staying up when way up, gratitude, hope, faith, humor, light, humanitarian actions. She has a love of animals, friendships, family, and she even raises economies in countries by hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions of dollars.
Wow.
Yes. So I suggest, if people are like me, a little slow to get to this Instagram and they haven't scrolled yet, check out anything of hers and her Swifties, as it's usually impressive and inspiring and positive. And so I want to ask you, do you follow her? Or do you
I don't know. I
see
follow
her
so many
come?
people sometimes I don't even know who I follow. You know who I do follow Jennifer Gardner.
Oh, she's so cool. What was
I
the
love
movie she was? Alias?
her.
What was it? What was that one she was in a long time ago? She does fun movies now, but she was in
You know
some.
which one I love? The 13 going to 30.
Oh, that was good. That was
That
good. I
she's
like
like
that.
30
Okay,
and she's
I I'm serious.
on
It's a
Reese
time.
Witherspoon. I do follow her too.
Oh yeah, she's cool. She has really, really sharp, special sharings. Like
I love her
she's like,
Legally Blonde movie. Oh my
yeah,
god.
her
I can
movies are.
watch that
I'm
over and
gonna try
over.
to get them. I'm gonna try to get them to come on the podcast. Okay, so here's something else I found on Instagram. I scrolled on this, so I was so excited. So
Off track, but I'm sorry. Just
okay, no, this one was titled. It came in the printed thing. It said, "What I wish I knew." Vincent van Gogh was a failed missionary at age 27. Okay.
okay.
J.K. Rowling was a struggling mom at 28. Julia Child's first cookbook was at age 39. Now, I added this one because I thought, well, they don't have a sport one. Michael Jordan made a lot of baskets, but he also missed 9,000 attempts. So, Vera Wang's first dress was at age 40. And if people don't know
Oh.
she's a designer, they might think, like
Mm-hmm.
wearing it, buying it, like what? But no, that's the first, like that was her career. The first time was
That
at
made her career.
40.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So not one she wore. Harrison Ford was a carpenter at age 30. And then look how he ended up. He helped take down Darth Vader. He saved and kissed a princess. He had he had a very cool friendship with Luke's. I told you he didn't know what to expect on this one. This is so cool. He had a way cool friendship with Luke Skywalker and the monstrous Chewie. Remember Chewbacca?
I
That was
love Chewbacca.
his sidekick. So we all have great things coming, whatever situation you are in or age. And so now we're continuing in the supportive and friendship category. I want to speak of something else. It's speaking of people applauding efforts. The WTA has a legacy fund and what WTA is, the Women's Tennis Association. They have a legacy fund and they invited me to participate. In doing so, I will be able to receive a fee so exciting, which I will immediately give to Little Star Foundation, even more exciting, as a donation. So part of the invitation requires me, which is a former professional tennis player who's contributed to and supported the WTA, to complete an interview questionnaire. So I think there's like 26 questions. And you only had to fill in 10, but me being the overachiever, I did all of them. I just am like, I'm gonna do all. So I'm including some here, which I thought they'd be fine because we needed 10 anyway, right? And I filled them all in. So here are a few of the answers relating to people you have seen, heard, or know about, like the audience and you, Karen, as well. In because we've celebrated them on Little Star Lights podcast and Little Star Foundation programs. So setting the tone for those extraordinary people mentioned, like these coming up, I was asked of which I'm also excited to ask you too, Karen. What advice would you share with your younger self or someone just starting out in the sport? So that was a question that they had for me. So because you didn't grow up like me in sports, it's like, I'm going to have you go first. What advice would you share with your younger self or someone just starting out or in the middle of something in life instead of sport? You can do it
Okay,
for
I was gonna be
sport,
like,
but yeah,
I'm
but
like, well, sports, no,
I
because
know. So I thought, so I'm changing it for
pretty
you.
much.
You don't get a fee, but you get an applause.
Thank you.
Okay. So what would it be?
um, what would I tell my younger self? Oh, Jesus.
Hmm.
Um,
Jesus, that would be it. That would be it right
Jesus.
there. That's a good one.
Recently there's this song that I keep hearing that I love, and it says, I don't know what the future holds, but I know who holds my future. So yeah, Karen, you're gonna go through a lot, but just know that God has you, that whatever you go through, God has the control. And yeah, it's not gonna be pleasant, but everything's gonna be all right. So just trust God and just take it easy and take one day at a time, and everything will be fine. So,
That's a good one. That's a great one. Although the pleasant part, like if you're a little baby and you hear little like toddler going, it's not going to be pleasant. They're going to go
it's not
running
gonna
back
be
to the mom and go
pleasant.
back
Well,
in.
yeah,
No, but
life
it's
life has its
important
struggles. Yeah, it definitely has its struggles. I mean,
because it's
they don't tell you that when you're younger,
no,
and
it's a
yeah, they
very
definitely
important
do not tell
point.
you that when you're younger.
And it would be a good way of explaining, yes, the sun comes up, it definitely
Mm-hmm.
does. And like you said, God has you, like God is a steering wheel. But if for that
Yes.
younger group who thinks they don't know, all you have to do is scroll on Instagram. You can see all kinds of things. So you see things are not always
Oh
pleasant on
yeah.
there,
No.
but
Yeah.
it's really important because how
Mm-hmm.
you like who you surround yourself with, how you are with yourself. And
Yes.
we're going to get to this, the mirror thing coming up next is really an important situation on how you
Mm-hmm.
want to have the rest of your life. I mean, supposedly
Yes.
you create your behaviors before the age of 10. Like
Oh
you
wow.
who are you going to be and how you're going to conduct yourself in life is molded into you at that time. And there's neuroplasticity, so you can switch it and change it, but it gets more difficult. It's why younger kids can learn languages very quickly, and then when you're older, you're set in certain patterns, so it's a little bit harder. And so if you knew it's okay to fall down and you might get
Mm-hmm.
scraped and but there's a get up too. There's the get up part.
Yes.
So that's
Definitely
awesome.
enjoy the good moments and enjoy the good times with the people you love.
I'm gonna have to do like bumper stickers here or like billboards of your sayings. That is profound.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine, I might have to rewrite mine. No, I'm not. Okay, so so what they did on mine, because I like wrote it, my answer is the same advice my younger self always shared with me when I was younger, and it's still what I live by. It's remember. Okay, so remember, like comma. So remember, like who you are and enjoy a sense of wonder. And so for me, it's different than like who you are. Whoa, like I'm so awesome. Like the ego thing. That's I've got a different version than that. Did you think that? Like that's what I'm worried about. They're gonna get this and they're gonna pick this question and this answer, and everyone's gonna go, yeah, yeah, like, gosh, she's got an ego or she has a big head. And it's like I'll get misunderstood again. And so it's like,
Remember
and
comma. Remember comma. Like there's a comma. I'm thinking to myself. Telling myself to remember. That's a good
see,
one.
they should do these in video form. This would be so fun. Okay, so but this is okay. So my logic, and this is who I am. This is what's even more like what. So, but this is totally who I was as a kid, and who I am. You're laughing. You're still laughing. See, this is why we can't talk during your stitches. We cannot talk during your stitches. Okay.
Remember comma.
Okay, so all right. So for me, okay, the remember part, okay. So I watch this. I can talk while I laugh and look at you laughing. I totally can do this because when you work with kids, you can really like if you have to set out like shout out rules or hey, do this, and you really want to laugh internally because the kids are doing something so adorable or priceless, but you got to be strict. You can't let them see that that is really funny and you want to laugh, but it's time to pay attention. So, all right.
Oh my gosh.
So, what happened was when I was a kid and hearing of news, like on the news, someone had harmful actions towards another person or I personally came across that, I actually wondered, like, I would very much wonder about this. How do people peacefully go to sleep at night knowing they intentionally harm someone? Like for me, so I could never put my head on a pillow at night if I felt like I hurt somebody intentionally. Like I would want to say sorry or do something or be better or tell God, I am so sorry. I totally messed that up. And tomorrow, let's do it better. I'm going to do it better. Let's
Mhm.
get this better. So I was very geared towards that when I was younger. So I had a hard time understanding. I just thought if something bad ever happened, it happened because someone didn't know better. It was like a
Mhm.
huge shock to my system when I realized people actually meant to do what they were doing. They didn't care if it hurt someone and they didn't care if it was bad. It was like, I don't know if I ever understand. I don't know if I ever came to understand how that happened. But anyway,
Yeah, me neither.
so as a child, each morning in my home, and in hotel rooms as a kid, because I traveled a lot. I was in a lot of hotel rooms when I played professional tennis. And still now, I would look in the mirror in the morning and with joy, I would be like, oh, hi, I remember. I didn't say I remember a comma. I would just say, I remember, period. Right. And then before I went to bed at night, and I still do this, is I would look in the mirror and say, I remember, and tomorrow is another day to do my best in being someone I can like and respect. Like that's super important to me to, and it's not, again, not the ego thing, but it's like to like myself, like who I am and like and respect it because I'm waking up with myself in the morning. Like I'm hanging out with myself in the morning. I want to like who I'm hanging out with, right?
Mhm.
So I wanted to ask you, what kind of conversations do you have in the morning and night when you look in the mirror?
Oh, that's a good question.
Mm.
I actually I'm so oblivious.
Yes, I mean, okay, we'll come back to that. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
And then so here was another question they asked me about, which was who do you look up to and why? And my answer was besides God and the universe, here are just a few of the many people I look up to and have spent time with personally and professionally, including Goodwill Laughing together, sharing and brainstorming service projects together. Therefore, these sharings are based on personal and professional experiences. And I said, Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor had to relearn how to walk, talk, eat, and relearn her entire Harvard trained neuroscientist degree after having a stroke as an adult. And she loves sharing her knowledge. talk about tenacity. Then I said, oh, and so I had this question to you about Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, because anyone can go watch these on our littlestar.org because that episode already happened. Adriana was on that one and Charlie, and you can check out the announcements and all that. But since this episode's going way longer than I thought and way great, profound, I'm going to wait to ask you that question after. So, and also our episodes are on YouTube and Spotify, which is cool. So then I also mentioned when I met Nelson Mandela, there wasn't YouTube or Spotify. There wasn't that like social media that's so profound as it is now. And most people only learn about Nelson Mandela from history books and news items online. And since he passed, and Nelson Mandela, in a very, very brief summary, was attacked and imprisoned for decades for caring about others and wanting to help humanity. He came out of prison with a continuing caring heart and spirit. Talk about forgiveness and action. Nelson Mandela came to our foundation headquarters for a visit and to say thank you and congratulate me for all of our humanitarian and children's cancer programs. And it was so cool. We helped build an orphanage too. He met with the vice president as well. He met with the staff, and it was just, and we spent some alone time together. And it's like all the experiences I've had with people, and there's so many. I mean, I could list hundreds, but I'm only listing a few here. I just wish everybody had that. Like, that's why I like sharing stories, because it's like, oh, maybe people feel like they kind of had that too. Someone who also cared and helped tremendously children with life-threatening diseases, cancer included, and children with life-altering conditions was Paul Newman. Paul Newman cared more about the inside of a person than the outside. Talk about character. And oh my, like his, oh gosh, Karen, you would have, hanging out with him, Paul and I laughed and laughed. I mean, and we'd be surrounded with kids and we would just laugh. We had so many unbelievable times together. He went sledding down the mountain with kids. He flew to visit me in a snowstorm. He would meet with potential and present donors, and he would share with them, look, it's not just important for you to donate. You have to give her whatever you have. Like, give her, like, help her. He would go to these people who were in awe of him, and they were waiting for him to talk about like movies and different things he was doing. And he goes, sure, I'll do that. I'll talk about all that. Are you going to give to help Andrea? And he would say these things and be with these people. And so we partnered up and went to New York, Michigan, Colorado, Connecticut, Ireland, and California, all those places together. Sometimes he would drive the car, and sometimes he would even fly the plane to these destinations.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I'm thinking I might have to do a whole podcast on some of that stuff, because some of the stories are like they're
Yeah.
magical. They're really cool and super funny. So then Cindy Crawford I added on my list to answer this question. And the reason for that was for the hundreds of times, probably even thousands of times, I've seen in person Cindy exhibiting unlimited grace in response to when people show the opposite. Talk
Yeah.
about grace. Alice Walker stood up for the rights of others and continues to do so no matter the toll
Mm.
and the task. Talk about courage. Dr. David Agus has a brilliant and thoughtful mind that works passionately for the benefit of others. Talk about service. You laughed different in that episode. You were so comfortable, I guess, with maybe doctors and oncologists, which he is, and he has a huge heart. And so that was interesting to watch. Did you feel like he was like a father figure with you? Because you definitely related to him very different.
Yeah, maybe because he was a doctor too. I kinda grew up with doctors, so
It was just
so
like this
familiar with
instant
doctors.
connection. Yeah, it was this instant connection.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
the last, on this question that I was asked, the last two I put was the VP of Little Star Foundation and my sister. Both of these extraordinary, wise, and kind people never chose public life. However, they became part of it because I was in it from being a child prodigy in professional tennis and from my being a passionately determined and guided individual throughout, and now in my 39th year of Little Star Foundation efforts, helping children with cancer and children, families, and communities in need. Especially in my youth, I've experienced my sisters, and specifically for the past 39 years, the VP's unwavering, unlimited, priceless, and treasured support, kindness, goodwill, and vast instrumental wisdom. The VP for 39 years, like me, has also seen, felt, and been part of helping children with cancer living with pain, suffering, years of treatments, surgeries, and loss of normalcy in childhood, adolescent, and teenage years. Being supportive with long-term care, love, and financial assistance for 39 years of children's lives, passings, and families, financial struggles, grief, and heartache is often a divinely called to career. Superhuman VP for sure. Regarding my sister and the VP, talk about support, kindness, and goodwill. And so those things, and there's so many more people. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, what about me? It's like, you would have been on too. It's just, it's, I,
The list could go on and on
yeah,
and
yeah,
on and on.
definitely, definitely. And so,
We need a whole podcast just to have Andrea's
yeah,
stories. It would call it Listener Tell.
I think you can have your own sitcom, Karen's
Yes.
sitcom.
It's like,
Absolutely.
it's just a podcast about Andrea's stories and how she gets all these fundraising donations for
Well,
the.
you and Adriana are going to be running the program without me coming up here. Yes. Wait, when is this running? Oh, yes, you'll be doing that before this even airs. That's how often our programs are happening here. Well, anyway, so that's actually about it for this episode, as we have programs and trips to organize in LA, New York, Miami, Orlando.
Yes.
Oh my, the
Oh my
list,
God.
and fun to be had. Did you want to answer that other question before I sign off on here? Or do you want to wait for
What was
next
it?
time?
What was that question?
Okay, in the morning or at night, other than prayers, do you look in the mirror and say anything? See, I don't wear makeup. I decided, I don't know why, but I've never done the makeup thing. I did once. Reader's Digest brought a makeup person. I was going on the cover for Reader's Digest. They brought a makeup person and they made me look like a clown. Like the magazine came out.
What?
I was on the
No.
cover, and other people didn't think I looked like a clown, but because I never wear makeup, they put such heavy red lipstick on me that I
Oh,
felt like I looked like a clown. I'll find that cover somewhere. It was a long, long time ago.
I have to
But
see it.
I was in a store and I saw it in the shelf, the grocery store. And I was on the cover, and I just
Did you
like
did
I
you
jumped
feel like
back.
you felt like a whole new person, like a whole different person?
I felt like a very different person. I didn't feel like
Yeah.
me. I just didn't feel like
Oh,
me. And
no.
so when I talked about this with Cindy once, because like the one time I tried to do my hair for an event, like it was a huge gala, like a ball. And so I did all this stuff with my hair, which I never do either. And she looked at me and she goes, "You went for the hair thing, didn't you?" And I go, "Yeah, it didn't work out, did it?" She goes, "Nope." And so we laughed about that. But the reason I never wore makeup um is that I thought, if I wear it at this moment, then the people who see me without it, what does that do? Like it, it's like I just and then again it came back to the time thing. It's like I wake up and
True.
I'm on it. Like
Yeah. No.
I start my day, there's prayers, there's meditations, there's rituals, there's this whole
True.
the
It
mirror,
is.
like saying,
No,
"Hi."
I actually, whoever doesn't wear makeup, I props to you because it is time consuming. I
Mhm.
wear because I have rosacea. So without makeup, my face is red. Okay, it looks like a drunk person.
I didn't know that. I did
Yes, my face is naturally red. So it's funny because my face is just
I thought you were
red.
just laughing hard sometimes.
No, my face is just red. And people are like, why is your face red? And I'm like, I have
Really?
rosacea. I have rosacea. So I've tried all skin type of lotions, all type of lotions with
Oh,
rosacea on it, but it just doesn't go away. So I don't know if it's, and I know I don't remember it being like that when I was younger. So I don't know
no.
how it came to me,
I maybe
came to
thought you
be.
had
So yeah,
rosy
so I have
cheeks.
to neutralize my face with makeup. So it's very light, but still, it is time
Interesting.
consuming.
It totally
Yeah.
is. I've seen Cindy get ready for events
Yes,
with
yeah,
hair and makeup.
even if it's light, it's still time consuming. So, but I only wear makeup when I go to the office, which is like twice a week, and when
Okay.
I go to church or when I have to go out. But yeah, other than that, when I'm at home working, I don't wear makeup, but yeah, I'm like a whole different person.
Yeah, you feel
Yeah.
like a different person. Although I will
Yes.
say, I go to town, like Halloween month, I go to town. Like I put the I put the green makeup. I could wear that every day. I totally could go to town like on like my witch outfit. And I've been a witch for like how many years in a row? I think it's been like
But
8.
sometimes, I think to myself, I wonder how people look at me. When people look at me, what do they see? That's how I often think, like, what do they see when they look at me? And it's
You,
not like appearance wise, it's more like what do they see when they look at me? Do they say, "Oh my gosh, she's nice," or what do they see when they look at me?
I
Like
always,
like I see myself and I'm like, "Oh my god, I think I'm cute. I'm okay."
oh my gosh. All right. So this has been, I'm gonna have to seriously put together stickers or billboards on this. This has been
But
really,
yeah.
I loved your sharing. I loved the contents of this surprise conversations of things that we didn't know about
Oh
each
yeah.
other, didn't know
Yeah,
about each other, which
definitely.
is a new experience. And I hope everybody watching or listening had as much laughter and love and felt the hugs of others that are like above, like within, around, have passed on, are still here, feeling all their love too. So, on behalf of Little Starlight hosts, me, Andrea Jaeger, and Adriana Solarova, who will join us again very
I
soon.
know,
And
I miss her.
it is, I mean, we're always program time. We're always in program mode.
Mhm.
So it's, it's anyway. And then, and of course, the awesome Karen Vazquez. Thank
Of
you.
course. Thank you.
And for everyone else, hope you enjoyed this. And thank you for being part of Little Star Light and Little Star Foundation. So each day, we at Little Star Foundation is making an inspiring positive difference thanks to the generosity of kind people. And we send you all blessings, light, love, openness, joy. Did I any peace, harmony? I could keep going.
Yes, laughter.
Well, oh, good one, and
Laughter.
laughter. All right, thank you all. Blessings.